Welcome to the Hixon House. It is Christmas Eve Day, 1904, and Mrs. Hixon and her household are extremely busy preparing to celebrate the holiday with a formal dinner for her family. All the greenery and the Christmas tree are up, the cook is bustling in the kitchen, and Mrs. Hixon has been asked by her oldest son, Frank, to occupy his two daughters, Dorothy and Ellen, while his wife, Minnie, makes the last holiday preparations at their home just a few blocks away on King Street. By the late 19th century, most homes in America had a nativity scene that they would put up at Christmas time. Here, Mrs. Hixon has placed her nativity scene on a table in the middle of the parlor so that all of the visitors and family who came over the holidays could enjoy it. Queen Victoria's consort installed a beautiful Christmas tree in one of their palaces, and it was replete with beautiful hand-blown glass German ornaments, paper ornaments, garlands, and candles. This launched the popularity abroad, and that popularity extended to the United States. Sitting room is where the Hixons would have spent most of their waking hours. It was where they lived as a family and spent evening and mornings. It was what we would call our family room. We're in the library of Hixon House. This room was added onto the house in 1881 by Gideon Hixon and used by him as a kind of a private space and also as a home office. After his death in 1892, his wife, Ellen, redecorated the room, and we believe she probably used it as a space for writing her own correspondence.
Here we see that Mrs. Hixon has just stepped away from her task of writing her annual Christmas cards to family and friends afar exactly as we do today. But of course, her cards would have had handwritten notes, no printed newsletter of a family's past year activities as are common today. The cards she has received herself are propped on the mantelpiece. The first Christmas cards were commercially produced in Great Britain in 1843, but were restricted to the very wealthy because of the high cost of printing at that time. The cards were born from the long-standing British tradition of sending Christmas and New Year's letters and served as an expedient way to reach more people without having to handwrite each letter.
Here's Mrs. Hixon seated in her favorite chair in the corner of the sitting room. Her granddaughters, Dorothy and Ellen, who must have been working with her here, have gone in search of some popcorn and cranberries to make a garland for the smaller Christmas tree in this room. The girls must have gotten delayed by the bustle of the activities in the kitchen. However, Mrs. Hixon and the girls have been working this afternoon on a fun project, making paper, tinsel, and lace ornaments for their tree. Victorians made many of their own ornaments, including the fancy paper ones you see here, as well as paper chains, popcorn and cranberry garlands, even gingerbread figures. Colorful paper fans and cones filled with candies and nuts were among the most popular decorations. And in some traditions, when the tree was taken down after Epiphany or Twelfth Night, the children would be given the candy and nuts they had been eyeing for the previous 12 days. This treat helped ease the disappointment of the closure of the Christmas season. Other ornaments that one might have found on a Christmas tree circa 1905 include lovely blown glass balls, animals, acorns, bells, etc., mostly imported from Germany, and toys, Small toys of all kinds were hung from the branches, as well as tucked under the lowest boughs of the tree. For the turn of the century American family, Christmas was an occasion for which they would bring out their very best: china, glassware, and silver. The table would typically have been set with many platters on it for the main course, including covered dishes, cruet stands, cut glass decanters, and large turkey platters.
Candies, they should be as fresh as possible, not more than a day old, and should be kept in tin boxes and in a dry place. For a turn of the century family Christmas dinner, Victorian cookbook and etiquette authors advised laying the table as for a company dinner. Use the best china, glassware, and silver, an elegant cloth, and perhaps a low dish of ferns or scarlet geraniums mingled with white carnations, and having a base of evergreen, near upon whose surface some stray leaves or blossoms have fallen as if by accident. Mrs. Hixon's affluence allowed her to purchase many things beyond the means of others, including the stunning pomegranates she has chosen to showcase in the middle of her table. And she has chosen to use her hand-painted Limoges china set and sterling silver flatware and an open-work lace tablecloth. Note the many forks, spoons, and knives set at each place. They were used for the various courses and set so the diner would use those on the outside working in towards the plate. A hint for less acquainted diners. Thank you for coming along on our tour of a Hixon family Christmas. The Hixon House is open every year at the holidays for special tours highlighting local history and a range of holiday traditions. We hope you'll come join us in person.